I'm going to show you how farming and botany works in Starfield. So we can grow plants in this game, we can use them for resources, and it's a little complicated to get started, but I'm going to teach you guys everything you need to know about this. It's actually really fun to do. So outside of one of these buildings, we'll get to in a sec, you can make resources from these different plants. So I can make fiber, metabolic agent, nutrient toxin, and that's just from this planet. Every planet has its own unique plants, its own unique botany and stuff, and you'll be able to get different resources on each planet. Now, one of the best starting plants to play with is Jemison. It's actually really good. The one in Alpha Centauri, the starting place. You can go here, and there are a ton of plants here with a lot of good resource selection for you. So what you're going to want to do is pick an area that you like and then travel there and go ahead and make an outpost, because there's no way to do this without an outpost. Well, you can gather resources randomly, but that's nothing. What we're going to cover here is the actual outpost version of this. But before we can do that, there's something else we need to do first. So you're going to want to head over to Jemison. You're going to want to go to New Atlantis. You're going to want to go to the New Atlantis section of New Atlantis, which will spit you out over by your ship, which is down that way. You'll go through the scanner right there, and on your left is the staircase, and that will lead to Jemison Mercantile. Now, in previous videos, I told us to go to UC Distributions, but I've actually changed it now. I realize it's better to go to Jemison Mercantile if you can. There's resources we need, and there's a reason we want to go to Jemison Mercantile. So first off, let's go through the resources. So we're going to need a bunch of different things, and hopefully she'll have them all. We're going to need adaptive frames, which she probably won't have enough of them. We'll buy what she has, but we can also make adaptive frames from aluminum and iron, which we'll be buying also. So we do need aluminum for more than just the adaptive frames. We're also going to need benzene. We're also going to need beryllium. We're going to need chlorine. We're going to need copper. And then we're going to need iron. And then we're going to need nickel. And we're also need reactive gauges, which she may or may not have. She does not have any reactive gauges right now. And then we also need sealant, which she does have right now. Also, there are two things I missed. We also need to get metabolic agents. We only need 10 of these specifically. And then we also need 10 nutrients. And we also need to go down here and get tungsten. We need 10 tungsten specifically. If she's missing things and she doesn't have them, you can sit down and wait for 24 hours, or more specifically 48 universal time hours, by going out here, going to a chair, and then sitting down and waiting for 24 hours, which just happens to be long enough to reset shops on New Atlantis. So after 24 universal time hours, she will restock, and then you'll be able to buy more stuff. Hopefully now she'll have the reactive gauges, which she doesn't. I don't know if she even can carry them, actually, but we can make them at an industrial workbench, so it actually doesn't matter. But you can do this, buy a few cycles, and there's a reason we picked Jemison Mercantile now. So if you're within 250 meters of your spaceship, you can remotely access the storage. So we don't have to run back and forth and fast travel. We can buy here, sit down, buy here, sit down, buy here, sit down. And then once we're overloaded with stuff, instead of having to walk back or, you know, shift with our resource weight, we can open up the inventory and go to our ship down the bottom left, and then go to the cargo hold. And if we're within 250 meters, then we can just put our resources away into it. So here's our ship's inventory. We can go down here to our inventory, go to resources, and then store everything. So that makes it much easier to get a bunch of resources and store them without having to run back and forth and back and forth. You just get a bunch of those resources so you can make everything you need. Try to get them all now so you don't have to go back and forth. But it doesn't matter if you don't get an insane amount, because it's just so you can learn and then, you know, make them, and then you'll know what you need and you'll know what to come back and get more of. Also, if you're going to be doing this stuff a lot, you may want to expand the cargo hold of your ship. So you can go to this guy right at the port of New Atlantis and click view and modify ships. I'm just going to real quick show you how you can add cargo to your ship. It'll increase the weight though. So I have a freighter. You don't need the freighter. You can just pick something that you already use, and then you can go to ship builder, and then you can take off pieces in order to make room. So I'm going to delete these, for example, and then I can go to add, and then I can go over here to somewhere up here is cargo. There it was. I skipped over it. And then you can grab these, you can click them, it'll bring them out, and then you can attach them. You can also, while holding them, or while clicking it, there's an options button on. There's left control on keyboard, hold it, and there's a duplicate button, which is G on keyboard. We could duplicate. We can also duplicate, and then there's an option for flip, which is Z. Only some things can be flipped, by the way. So we put those on, for example, and you could put on something like this, and then suddenly, you know, you've way more cargo space. So you might want to consider doing that if you're going to be doing a lot of this stuff. It'll help a lot. Also, be sure to do the flight check before, and everything's good here other than some of the things got unattached, so I'd have to, like, move that, and then we're good, and this thing would be good. So that's how shipbuilding works. That's how you can increase your cargo space in order to make life easier so you can transport more resources. Now, I said Jemison's probably one of the best places to start off, but I'm going to do it on a different place because I've already scanned everything on Jemison, so I'm going to show you how it works from the beginning. So I'm going to go over this other planet in the same system here, And I'm going to see it only has rocky. It has swamp. Swamp has more life in it. So I'm going to go to swamp, try to look for some plants, and then we're going to, you know, do this stuff. So first we're going to throw down an outpost, and then I'm going to show you what you need in order to get botany. So you want to get out away from your ship, press F to scan or whatever it is on Xbox, I don't know. At the bottom there's outpost. It's R by default on mouse and keyboard, and then E on keyboard in order to do all the controls are at the bottom. And then we can put an outpost down. Okay, now that we have an outpost, the outpost is free, but then after that, building things costs things. So we press, in order to go to, we either interact with this with E, or whatever it says on Xbox, or we can open the scanner and press that outpost button again, and then we can get to here. Now from here, what we want to do is we want to look at this one category right here, crafting. So we're going to want to make a research lab. This is going to use beryllium, copper, and aluminum, which, you know, is some of the reasons why we bought those. So I'm going to throw down a research lab. You can also get one of these in your ship. You can also find them in different places in the world, but I'm just going to do it in the outpost. So I've already researched a ton of stuff on my playthrough, and what you're going to want to go to is you're going to want to go to outpost development. Now, you won't have these things by default. There's horticulture and stuff. You won't have these by default. Instead, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to open up your inventory and go to your skills, and then you're going to want to go to the science tab. You're going to have to get a bunch of points spent, I think 4 points spent in the top row, and then you're going to need, or maybe it was 5 points spent, I can't remember, and then that'll unlock the second row. Right here is botany, and then all you need is the first point of it, and then you'll be able to research all these things. Also, you might need outpost engineering for the second one, I can't remember, but once you have that skill, then you can go in here and you can go to outpost development, and there will be horticulture 1, and it will use all these things, and you'll put them all in, and then it'll let you research it. As for horticulture 2, yeah, you need outpost engineering 2 for the horticulture 2. So if you followed the earlier part of this guide about a minute ago, you should have all these materials except for the mag pressure tank. So we need to do something in order to get that. We're going to make something that every outpost usually needs to have. We're going to open up scanner with F, press R for the outpost, and then we're going to go to the industrial workbench. It uses aluminum and iron. We're going to place one of these on the ground and interact with it. Now here we can make a mag pressure tank out of aluminum and nickel, which are things that I did instruct you to buy. So you can go ahead and make that there, and once you have those mag pressure tanks, then you can head back over to that research lab, and then you can put those in and all the other ingredients, and then you'll unlock the horticulture buildings. So then once you have these, this might be why you're looking up this video or watching it, you can't build them. So you go to do this, and you press R, and you'll go over to the extractors, you go to the builders and stuff, and there's nothing. It's actually under builders, by the way, but it's nothing there. There's nothing there. And the reason there's nothing there is if you open up your scanner, if you look at the left, fauna and flora, we don't really have anything scanned. If we do have it scanned, we don't have it scanned up. So we have to 100% scan things in order to get the flora and fauna unlocked. So what we're going to do here is we're going to build another thing. We're going to open up the outpost, and we're going to go to this last tab and build a scan booster. So you're going to build one of these, and then you'll also need to power it. You should have all these materials if you bought the things I told you to get earlier. So depending on the planet, you'll do a solar array or a wind turbine. I didn't have you guys buy cobalt, but if you need to do wind turbines, you also need some cobalt. But solar arrays work on most planets. So we're going to put down solar arrays. We only needed 1, but I just put 2 for the hell of it. We'll need them later. Okay, so now that with the scan booster powered up, we can see things from much further away, which makes it much easier to scan things. We can also scan things from further away now, I think. So you're going to go run around now, and you're going to look for plants, and you're going to scan them until they're 100% scanned. Also, a really useful tip is that they'll be blue if they're still scannable, but if you've already scanned them to 100%, then they'll appear green instead of appearing blue. So that's something really important to keep in mind. You'll see right here once I scan this, now they're green. And I turn around and look at the other ones, the old ones are also green now. Something else you could consider getting if you don't mind using your skill points is the surveying skill. Makes it so the hand scanner, its range for scanning gets increased. Goes all the way up to 50 meters, and 50 meters is a really nice quality of life if you want to get that. So now I've got 2 different plants scanned to 100%. We have the velvet bloom, and we have the sweetwater cactus. Now we can look at this information. So this plant produces fiber. So if we go up to it, we can take fiber from it. But it doesn't say anything about domesticating it. If we go over to the sweetwater cactus, it says outpost production allowed. So this one we can actually make stuff from. This one, the resource it gives is adhesive, and the required inputs is nothing but water. It just needs water. So once you've got some flora scanned, head back to your outpost, open up the scanner, press R for the outpost, wherever it is on Xbox, And then from here, you're going to go over to that builders tab, and look, there it is. There is a greenhouse now. So now we're going to put down a greenhouse. I'm going to rotate it around like this. And it uses 3 power. It uses reactive gauges, a sealant, adaptive frame, and fluorine, which I actually forgot to tell you to get, apparently. My bad. If you don't have fluorine, you'll have to go back and get it at this point. Sorry about that. Okay, well, now we have the greenhouse, and we have power for the greenhouse. Okay, so to use a greenhouse, now that we have a flora scanned, we can go to the control console, and it will actually tell us what resources exist on the planet. So the adhesive is from that cactus, and we already have it scanned, so it's all ready to go. Apparently, though, there are plants on this planet that will give fiber, and there's a plant that'll give sealant. So if we go out and we, scan whatever plant that is, once we get it to 100%, we'll also unlock these options to switch between these different ones on what it is that we're growing. Okay, and all these at the right, you can see at the top right, they just use water. I haven't encountered any plants that use anything other than water, but I'm open to thinking there might be some on some world that requires something else that's insane. But most that I'm aware of just use water. So now we actually have to grow the plant. So it's a little more complicated than just making this. So now we have to open up the scanner, open up the outpost again, and we're going to go into here, go over to this first tab. We need water. Now, in most planets that have life, there's infinite water under the ground. So I'm going to toggle view. At the bottom, it's V. I don't know what it is on Xbox, but it says at the bottom. And so I'm going to look up here, and you don't need a water vein. It's not like when you're going for lead, right? And you see this lead vein here. You don't need that for water if you're on a plant that has water. You can also check on the map, and it'll say over here, water, biological. So if there's normal water, then you can just extract the water, which most planets that have life on this game will let you do that. So let's go back to that toggle view. We're going to need nickel, aluminum, iron for this. Doesn't really matter where we throw it down. I'm just going to put it down over here, let's say. So we'll just make 1 for now. We're up to 11 power usage. By the way, when we're on this, you can see at the bottom right, it says needed power and total power, the very bottom right. That's how you can keep track of what your power needs are. Make sure you have enough power for everything, or else everything will shut down. Okay, so now we're going to open up the builder again. We're going to go over to this third tab. There's storage. So water, obviously, is a liquid. So we're going to need adaptive frame, nickel, aluminum, which you should have bought earlier. I had that as things listed that you needed to buy. And we're going to put down liquid storage. You can put down as many as you want. I'm just for now going to put down 1. It's just the minimum requirement. And you don't even really need it. You can just filter straight to the greenhouse, but it's always good practice to have at least 1 storage for backflow and stuff to stock up on water. I just think it's good practice to do that. Not necessary, though. All right, so now open up the scanner, open up the builder, and now at the bottom right, there's modify mode. It's tab on keyboard by default. I don't know what is on Xbox, but it says it right there at the bottom right. Press that, and then you'll be in modify mode. Now look at the water pump, and it says create output link at the bottom. It's right-click on mouse and keyboard, and then look at the water tank and press E on keyboard. It says at the bottom, whatever is on Xbox. Press E to connect it. Do the same thing from the water over to the greenhouse. Now the greenhouse is supplied with water, and it will produce whatever it is. Right now it's producing adhesive. It could be producing nutrient, metabolic agent. It just depends on what plant it is you scanned and what plant you told it to grow. All right, so now we're not quite done. So we're going to press tab to go back to build mode. And we're going to go up here, and since what we're making right here, the adhesive is a solid, it may even count as a manufactured. I'm not even sure. We'll find out in a sec. So we're going to put down a solid storage right here. And then we're going to go to modify mode, and we're going to right-click that and then press E. Okay, connected. And just because it connected, I'm pretty sure that means that that will work, which I'll test in a second, though. So then it should be producing stuff now and pumping them into here if it can actually go into a solid storage. I fast forwarded a little bit here, and yes, in fact, it does make it. There's adhesive. So we are good to go. We are now producing stuff. Also, if you want, you can open up the scanner, open up Outpost, and then go back to build mode, and you can go over a few tabs here, and you can put down a bench so that you can sit and wait for more to be produced. Also, very important, I hope you're still watching at this point, because you need something else. You need defenses if you're on a planet that has life, because they will come around and be total nuisances. So consider putting down a ballistic turret. It'll use lead, iron, and beryllium, but you can put that down. That's why we got the lead. And that will protect your outpost from all the obnoxious animals that constantly come and try to attack you, especially ones that have more abundant life. But then with all this, we can go ahead and sit down on this bench, and we can let some time pass. I'm going to press B. It's at the bottom. I'm going to let some time pass and let some adhesive accumulate in that storage. Now, something to keep in mind here, how fast these things work is based on universal time, the UT. So local hours don't matter. So if you want these things to fill faster, you're going to want to be on a slower planet, or you're going to go fly off to a slower planet and wait there instead to make time pass faster if you want the resources to accrue faster. So it's all based on universal time for resource production. All right, so we waited like however many hours, and we only have 14 adhesive. It's actually very slow. And we can check the water. The water is very slightly backing up. So apparently we do have enough water. It's just that only one of these basic level greenhouses do not produce materials very quickly. So you definitely want to consider waiting on a slower planet to have this happen faster, or consider making more of these water pumps, making more of these things, and just producing things faster. Also, don't forget there's an option under the skills to get in science. If you get enough skill points in here, you can get outpost engineering, which I highly recommend if you're going to be doing a lot of outpost stuff. And outpost engineering, getting level 1 and then level 2 of it will let you do more advanced stuff, which is really important for getting a specific thing. There's resource extraction 1 and 2, especially 1. That's the most convenient one. It'll let you make a water pump that pumps more water in the same amount of space. You can do basically it's the same thing, but just better. It doesn't use up more space. Uses the same amount of space, makes more water. Obviously, you can get horticulture 1 and 2, which lets you make these ones that produce way more stuff. And then there's also higher manufacturing, which has nothing to do with what we're doing in this video. And there's other things you can get in there too. So that's how you can upgrade it more to make this all go faster in order to produce more things with less space. And that is the direction you're going to be going with this. So that's pretty much everything, guys. Everything there is to know about botany, horticulture, farming, how plants work in this game. I got more stuff coming from this stuff in another video. We're going to be looking at how to get rich off of horticulture and botany. And I'm also going to, hopefully tomorrow I'll have time to make a video about the zoology and the animal handling and stuff. Because, I'd see, this video was already really long, so I didn't have time to stuff both these into one. But I will be covering the zoology guide probably tomorrow in more detail with some, hopefully, good animals and good places to go and do your zoology. But that about wraps it up, guys. I hope that helps you out. That's everything you need to do from start to finish to get started in horticulture and farming. Once you get to this step, you're good to go. You start scaling as far as you feel comfortable with. If you're like me, you turn it to a mass industry till the game starts lagging and freezing, where you have like 10,000 objects in an outpost. But if that's not your style, you just stick to a few, get whatever it is you need, and you'll move on with your life, whatever it is you want to do. But either way, hopefully this video helped you out. Now you know how farming, horticulture, and botany work in Starfield.